Alright, we're about ready to get started. Um, Someone let me know how the audio is because I got a new mic. So if the audio is good, we'll get right to it. Show you guys, I ordered that new shirt. Uh, McChicken and chill. Maybe wearing this a lot in the streams. Sound is not that good. Well, let's try and fix it. I sound robotic again. Echoey? Alright. Uh-oh. Okay. Do we have audio again? We're good. You can hear me? Alright, sorry about that, guys. I was trying to get a new mic because everyone said I sounded like a robot, but turns out the new mic doesn't work. Anyways, let's get into super loud now. Hold on, let me turn it down. Geez, I've never had so many problems with the streaming. Sound is back, but maybe I just sound like a robot. Anyways, so I still have the same stance really on Bitcoin. If you haven't seen what I've said about Bitcoin the last few days, basically I sold a lot of my alts. I don't like the way that alts look because I'm waiting to see how Bitcoin plays out. A lot of people are saying that there's this inverse head and shoulders, which I do see it, but I think it could just be a huge fake out. And so I'm really waiting to see how this all forms. I'm assuming that we're going to dip, to the 200-day moving average, which would be about 8,500. And so I did rebuy some of my Bitcoin position, but I still have some money on the sidelines because I think that the right shoulder, if we do have an inverse head and shoulders, will dip down to this 200-day moving average. I'm just going to do this from the daily. I see the divergence on the 4-hour. With Bitcoin, it's really better to just look at the daily. It gives you a better picture, or the weekly. And so what I'm really looking out for right now is, a bounce off the 200-day moving average and a pretty big one. And then if the inverse head and shoulders plays out, which would mean we'd have to break this neckline essentially back over 11K, that's when I'll start looking at alts again. But so the way that I look at things right now is Bitcoin is really volatile. It's not going to trade sideways anytime soon. And when I say anytime soon, I mean in the next couple weeks, I think. So while Bitcoin's volatile, the rest of the market tends to just dump, whether Bitcoin's going up or down. And why I sold a lot of my positions a few days ago is because I don't want to deal with that volatility. It's a risk management move, and I'm trying to protect my portfolio. So I'm looking to re-enter Bitcoin. Well, the rest of my Bitcoin. I did buy some in the 96, 9700 range, but I'm looking to re-enter the rest in this area. And when I say re-enter the rest, I mean fiat to Bitcoin. Um, and I'm really going to just watch closely how it plays out. I don't think that I'm going to be trading any alts until maybe even mid-March, because I don't want to deal with a whole market dump or a Bitcoin pump. Did I sell any Lux or ETC? I did not sell any Lux, and I haven't sold my ETC yet. I'm probably going to sell my ETC in the next day or two. I'm moving into XMR. And just so you know, ETC is not a hard fork. It is an airdrop. Callisto is not a fork. A lot of people don't even know what Callisto is. I'll talk about Callisto in a little bit. But so as far as Bitcoin goes, this is my game plan. Hopefully pick up more in this area. I definitely see it falling to this area. I think it'll be a pretty quick dump. Once we break 9,200, 9,300, we kind of double bottomed here and we found some support. But once we break around here, I think it will be a pretty fast dump down to this area. And so one thing that I'm really watching closely is the new weekly candle is in about 50 minutes. The weekly doesn't look great, and this next candle is going to make a pretty big difference in my opinion, and that's why I'm watching really closely. The weekly candles in 50 minutes, the past week, or last week, the last 2 weeks, we've seen a really big dump as soon as the candle opens. That's what I'm watching for again. I think that we're going to have a really big dump on the candle open, and we're going to break below this 9270 level, and that should take us pretty quickly down to the target area, maybe in the next 3 or 4 days. So that's for Bitcoin. I'll get into the rest of the market, even though I'm not really trading the rest of the market. Let's look at ETH. Chris, still lower highs and lower lows on weekly and the daily. Yeah, the weekly and daily charts really don't look strong for Bitcoin or Ethereum, but we definitely haven't broken out of the downtrend in Bitcoin. And what I'm really worried about is this inverse head and shoulders being a huge trap. Because everyone's going to see the inverse head and shoulders and go long and buy a ton of Bitcoin, but I think it could be a huge trap. And so that's why I'm not really looking to re-enter the rest of the market until after it plays out. Just because if that is a big trap, it's really easy to liquidate Bitcoin. There's a lot of ways to move your Bitcoin to USD or USDT extremely quickly, whereas the rest of the market has low liquidity, especially the coins that I trade. And so if there is to be a rejection of the inverse head and shoulders and it is a bull trap, then I would be losing a pretty significant portion of my portfolio because everyone would start dumping like crazy. So just really be on the lookout that it could be a fake out. It might not be a fake out, but originally we were saying that, or at least 33 Moku was saying that at the end of March, like March 31st, should be the end of the downtrend. And if we go back to the Bitcoin USD chart, end of March is right here. Inverse head and shoulders. I'll draw out what I think could happen. Inverse head and shoulders. A couple days we hit this. We go back and we retest the neckline. We'll just draw it here to make it easier. We get rejected at this neckline. This is the first week of March, and then we would probably drop pretty quickly to here. We could bounce back up. And then I think we could drop, into this area, and it would line up exactly with, the end of the quarter and what was initially thought about. So keep in mind this could play out. I don't want to scare anyone. Just, be aware, because if you manage your risk here, the market breaks out, whatever, we break through resistance, we start a new bull trend. cool, you missed the start of the bull trend, you missed 20 or 30%, but obviously there's like 5 to 20x that you can easily get if we have another bull trend. But on the other case, if you manage your risk and you protect your portfolio, you just sit on the sidelines, you miss all the volatility, and then you could have an opportunity to be buying back Bitcoin, at 6,500 or 3 to 4,000 area. So I'm not saying that this could for sure happen. That's just my current stance and what I'm doing because I've been trading through this volatility a little bit, and I've been trading unsuccessfully in it, and there's really no reason for me to be risking any more of my portfolio. I'm not using any indicators. I know that Ichi Cloud's really thick, but you don't even need indicators for this, aside from, my EMAs. I have the stock up. The stock looks like it's ready to bounce, but that's why I'm saying like this weekly candle could be really big, really fast dip. Once we break this 9,200 area, that would bottom the stock completely out, maybe give us like a W, and then we would bounce up, and retest the resistance. Why did I keep Lux? Lux is a low cap. There's not a lot of liquidity in it, and I think right now it's just a horrible price to sell at. So I'll show you the Lux chart. It would just be stupid for me to sell my Lux right now. Do they not have Lux on here? I don't usually use TradingView. Let's go to CoinAG. So yeah, I didn't sell all of my alts. I just sold some of the ones with higher liquidity and some of the ones that I was in a little bit of a loss because I thought I was picking them up at the bottom, but it turns out it wasn't the bottom, and so I just wanted to protect myself from any more losses. So if we look at Lux, the reason why I didn't sell my Lux is because it definitely shouldn't go lower than here unless there was like some sort of FUD or something bad happened. Because it bounced off the 0.786 fib. I don't usually use fibs, but this is just the best way for me to explain it. And then I guess we can do this. It's technically is just breaking out of a downtrend. Depends on how you look at it. And so for me to sell my Lux here, it would be really dumb because as far as risk reward goes, even if the market does crash or whatever, or Bitcoin is really volatile, we go back to all-time high, which I think could happen really quickly because they have so many updates coming out this month and in March. Whereas, like, I highly doubt it would drop below this price. You'd have so many people picking up masternodes at this price. So 40% to 200%, it's 5 to 1 ratio for me. And so that's why I didn't dump my Lux. And then again, if we go to Lux's website, they just have so many updates coming out this month and in March, where if it starts to dump at all, people are just going to buy it up for masternodes. I'm pretty sure they're going to be on a new exchange soon. I don't know what exchange, but a technical white paper would be really big. The white paper they have right now is just like a really broad, almost business plan, I guess you could say. And on top of that, they're going to have marketing phase and pre-mine burn. And this is all by the end of the quarter, which would be, one more month. Did I sell my hat? No, I haven't sold my hat. That's staking. Hat's another one where it just isn't. There's no reason to sell it at this price. It's down. There's not a lot of liquidity, and I got into hat knowing that it's a really risky coin. And again, they have a big catalyst coming up soon. They're supposed to reveal the company that's privately funding it. Is it a good time to buy Lux? I'm not gonna. I showed you why I'm holding it. I'm not gonna tell you to buy or sell it. That's not what I do. But so that is basically what I'm doing right now. It's nice to be on the sidelines for the most part. A little bit more stress-free. I've been able to focus on some other opportunities going on. But, I'm watching it really closely, and I'm going to be keeping everyone really updated. Like I said, if you just joined in, I just went through Bitcoin. What I thought about Bitcoin, and then again the new daily candles in 43 minutes, and I think we're going to see a pretty big dump when the candle opens. I really think we need to go down and break 9,200 and retest the 200-day moving average. Did I sell Nebulas? I sold my Nebulas. What coins did I keep? I posted a picture on my Instagram of the coins still in my portfolio. I started the Instagram just because it's an easy way to post things like a portfolio where they don't get lost. What do I think about masternodes? You want to talk about masternodes a little bit? So masternodes are actually really, really good right now. And most masternode coins are performing well compared to the rest of the market. just because they have a lot more stability when there's a lot of volatility in Bitcoin because so many of the coins are locked up. So when you have a lot of the coins locked up and there's less circulating supply, people aren't really dumping it. And people actually take these opportunities where the rest of the market is tanking to buy master nodes and set them up because you're going to be passively earning more coins, and you know at some point there's going to be a bull market again, and those coins will be worth significantly more. And on top of that, some people do sell their master nodes at these times and dump them, which in return makes the price cheaper, makes it easier for you to pick up a master node, and when there's less master nodes online, you get more of a reward. Yeah, Ricardo, smash that like button if you enjoy the streams. It just helps more people see the streams. What do I think about Krill? Am I investing in it? I'm not investing in Krill. I do like the idea, though. I just don't like the raise. I think that they're trying to raise too much money, and there's some bonus levels that are too high. That's why I'm not investing in it, but I do like the project. I think it's a really cool idea. If you don't know what Krill is, it's like it's one of those new trading platforms that's just really user-friendly. Let's see if I can find the demo on here. Yeah, so essentially it's just like it makes it so a 12-year-old could create essentially a trading bot where if something drops 20%, you buy it. If something goes up 20%, you sell it, and you can do like if or where if it drops 20%, then you buy it. If it drops another 7%, you sell it. So it's just a cool idea. But they're trying to raise like 25 million, and I think that's absolutely crazy. There's no reason for them to raise 25 million. What the hell is the Krill token used for? I honestly don't know. I'm assuming that it might be used to pay in a marketplace to buy other people's strategies that they've made. So like if I made a strategy and it was successful, you'd be able to probably use the token to pay for my strategy. Have I looked at any masternode coins? Yeah, there's a couple that I'm looking at. The main one I'm looking, well, I want a Lux masternode. I just don't. I don't want to put the money into it right now while I'm on the sidelines. I'm looking to XLR, Solaris. It's a low cap, but there's a pretty good amount of masternodes up there. I think about 50 to 60% of the circulating supply is locked up in masternodes, and they have some cool ideas going on. See, this is what I was talking about. Like if someone dumps their masternode, this is what happens. And it just gives the opportunity for a new person to buy the masternode, and that's one of the cool things about masternode coins is, when it dumps, it's not like it's going to keep dumping because one person's trash is another person's treasure. Someone's dumping, and then another person is getting excited to pick up their masternode. If Venn dumps after rebranding event in a few hours, will you pick up some? Yes, I'm looking to re-enter Venn. I've heard some really positive things about Venn recently. I haven't looked at the chart. Honestly, guys, I haven't really been looking at many charts. I was in California from Thursday to Saturday, and I just got back last night. So I've been doing things outside of trading. But Venn chart, let's go to the daily. Like it's a scary looking daily chart. But I kind of do. I think the chart is okay. We bounced off the only support that there is, and there's some pretty big news that's been hinted about and probably coming up pretty soon, along with the rebrand. So Venn might be a good pickup. If it dumps right when there's news, look to pick it up in this area. I doubt it would dump for very long. There's a lot of support behind Venn. If it were to dump, it would probably go back and hit this area. So like 40,000 to 45,000 sats. I've gotten a few questions about DOT, and I did pick up DOT for a little bit, but then Cryptopia said that they have no plans to do anything with DOT, so I sold it pretty quickly after. DOT is essentially not KuCoin. Wow, I'm really out of it today. DOT is Cryptopia's native token, I guess, but they don't do anything with it, and so there was a bunch of rumors that they were gonna announce a rebrand for DOT and use it in a similar structure to like KuCoin shares, the Binance token, which they never did. And the team even came out and said that they're not going to do that. So DOT's kind of just like a dead coin. Any ICOs I'm looking at? I'm not looking to get into any new ICOs right now. There really haven't been any good ones out there that I've seen since the ones I've been in. The ones I'm in right now are Exim Chain, Current, BlockX, Globitex. I was in Legolas. Nucleus Vision. I think Nucleus Vision is going to perform really well. And I'm in Shopin, ICO, SHOPIN, but I don't know too much about that one. Let's talk about ETC. I read the Callisto white paper. Cool idea. It's going to be completely worthless. I'm expecting it. I'm expecting ETC to dump pretty hard, and I think it's going to dump pretty hard um, a couple days before the fork. The only thing is, the chart is really bullish and this volume is really nice. So there's a small chance that it doesn't dump from this fork. Sorry, not fork. It's an airdrop because Callisto is not a fork of ETC. It's actually something that's going to be benefiting the network. So what Callisto is, it's like a foundation for smart contract audits. So if you're a smart contract developer and you're developing a smart contract for Ethereum Classic, you will get the smart contract reviewed for free by the Callisto Foundation. And so all the Callisto tokens that are being held by the foundation go towards paying people to review smart contracts. And so once the smart contract is reviewed, it could be something really basic like a ICO structure, or even just like a ICO pool, any sort of normal pool. So once the contract's reviewed, it can be recycled and other people can use it and they can see that it's been reviewed. So that's really what Callisto is. They're trying to avoid some of the problems that Ethereum's had with their smart contracts, whether they're being hacked or exploited, however you want to say it. But so Ethereum smart contracts have had a lot of problems. It's not a problem with Solidity. It's a problem that the auditors miss some things. And so Ethereum Classic is trying to be proactive with their smart contracts. And that's the reason for the Callisto airdrop. Callisto is also introducing cold staking for Ethereum Classic, where you'll be able to stake your coins without having the wallet open or while they're offline. Basically how that works, it's similar to Hat, where you send your coins to a smart contract for a certain amount of time, where they're like kind of locked up, but you can remove them from the smart contract. They're taken out of circulating supply. However, it's a cooler way to stake without your wallet open. Like I have to keep my Lux wallet open down there at all times. So I'm going to answer a few more questions. I was looking to do a 35-minute stream. So if you have any questions right now, just post them in the chat. If you want to help me out, hit that thumbs up button. Helps more people see it. And then I'll answer some questions before I hop off. Again, like I said, I'm really curious to see what happens going up to this weekly candle and after the weekly candle. The last few weeks, we've seen really big dumps. Poly. Yeah, I'll talk about Poly. I actually heard a problem with Poly for the secondary market trading. I'm sure they're going to be able to fix it. But so Polyswarm is a really interesting project. And that's one of the coins that I picked up recently. I didn't sell it. So what Polymath is, it's a platform to do security tokens offerings, whereas Ethereum's a platform for ICOs. Polymath will be for security token offerings, because a lot of these ICOs are securities and they're running into big problems with the regulators because regulators don't like when you sell securities without registering them. The whole point of it being a security is that, or why a lot of these ICOs are termed as securities, is because people are buying them in order to gain money on their investment. A security is anything that you kind of just buy in the hopes of it increasing in price. Whereas a utility token is something when you buy to actually use. So a lot of platforms are utility tokens. Like, horrible example, but the Krill token will be a utility token because you actually use it on the platform to unlock features. Whereas something like ETC, well, ETC could be a utility token. It's difficult to put ETC and Ethereum and Bitcoin into security or utility. But so Polymath is really interesting. They're going to allow security token offerings, which means accredited investors will be able to invest into these security tokens. And on top of that, they're going to have a secondary market for trading. And so this is a really big deal because that's going to allow new types of ICOs, because when you're actually going to be a security and registered through the SEC or whatever regulators you have, that means that you can do new things with coins and tokens. Like you could create a hedge fund, and instead of like selling equity in it, you could put it into a token, and then in order to raise money for the fund, you sell your token, and it's a security, so it's completely legal because it would be registered. So it's going to be interesting how that all plays out, and if they get any significant partnerships with government officials or different governments. What is the problem with the secondary market? I haven't looked into that yet. Someone just sent me a decent sized message to check out their implementation of secondary market trading, and so I'm going to look into that more. Are you still planning on shorting ETC? When and how much leverage? I don't think I'm going to short ETC anymore. Maybe like right before the airdrop, but the problem with shorting it is everyone's going to be doing it, and I know that there's going to be people that are just trying to liquidate all the shorts. So I feel like if you put in a short, it would have to be really low leverage, and it would be pretty risky. But if we get rejected at this level again, then I'll probably sell my Ethereum Classic and move it to XMR. If we break through this level, then I'm gonna continue to hold my Ethereum Classic. Why did you snub Lord Voldemort when you were in LA? He tweeted at you. I didn't mean to snub anyone. I was only in LA for about a day and a half, and most of Thursday and most of Friday I was in a meeting, and Friday night I hung out with one of my friends that I've known for 15 years. So it's not like I was snubbing anyone. I was there for a purpose. It wasn't like a vacation. I went there for some meetings. I'm probably going to end the stream here today. Look to see a tweet from me right around 6 o'clock when the new weekly candle comes out. I'm really curious to see if it dumps like I think it will. On the opposite side, we could see a big pump, but I think it's going to dump on the weekly open. There's a new weekly, a new daily candle at 6 p.m. CST, and so look out for that. Why XMR? XMR has a fork coming up called Monero V. I'm sure it's a scam fork. I don't think that there's going to be anything significant about it, but once it starts to get around that there's going to be a fork, people start to buy it and stop selling it. And on top of that, I think XMR is just a really good long-term hold. I was looking into it more, the technology behind it, and it's really interesting. Chart looks pretty good too. This is the first time I've looked at the chart, but we can see this nice pennant. The fork is on the 14th. This pennant happens to end on the 14th, so I'm probably expecting us to break out of this in the next couple of days. How do I pick masternode coins? I don't really do masternode coins. I just like XLR. That's the masternode that I'm looking at in Lux. I've only owned one masternode. Pretty embarrassing to say, but it was Chaincoin. That's right when I got into crypto. And it didn't go well. Really didn't go well. When they implement bulletproofs, it will go ballistic. Yeah, that too. I've been looking more into Monero and the technology. It's pretty interesting. Maybe I'll do a video on Monero if you guys want, just explaining the privacy behind it and how everything works. But again, I'm gonna hop off. We'll see what happens in 30 minutes, and have a good Sunday, everyone. We'll see how the February ends, and hopefully March is a little bit better of a month for us.